Good afternoon, everybody, and a very happy almost 4th of July. I guess the eve of the 4th. Not quite the same as Christmas, but lots of excitement going on. Do hope you're having a good summer. We will not delay anymore with this. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Matthew, and he'll be able to share some stuff with you on what's happening with Student Manager 77. So Matthew, I am making you the presenter. So carry away. And
okay. Let me know when you see me.
There you are. Fire away.
Okay. So before we talk about 77, we didn't have an update release webinar last month, so I'm going to talk a little bit, well, actually quite a bit about 76 because we had a bunch of stuff go out in that. Those of you that were at conference got to see some of these things, but there's a few other things I slipped into 76 that I didn't even show at conference. So we're gonna show a few things. Go with firms, find firm, and I have new button here is firm escrow. We've had the firm escrow feature, golly, about a year now, I guess. So the firm now to be able to see what escrow a firm has, you can just come in and then click the button, and it shows me the amount, date it's from, and which employee it's attributed to. And I can go in and pull up that person's record if I need to, but otherwise go find a payment to pay off with this escrow at this point. So hopefully make things a little easier for you. One of the new things we've got with quick reports, if I pull up here, quick reports. If you're doing name rosters, we have a new button just to export, and the hover shows what it's going to do. Course number, name, date, fee, and student contact information like email, phone number, all that stuff. Well, I could just run it real quick and save one here, and it should fire my Excel here in just a second. This does require Excel to be installed on your computer because it is using that XLSX format. So you got course information, begin date, end date, fees, name, address, city, state, zip, email, day phone, home phone, cell phone if anybody's got it. So a little bit of information, quick and dirty. If you do want something specific, you do have to run, a quick report and use your copy to XLS function, or do the export to file. But this is just kind of a shortcut for the majority of what people have told us they need. So hopefully this is one step easy button for you on exporting your rosters.
Matthew, and I'm going to jump in. That also will only list one name per row, right? Whereas I think sometimes a standard roster export, you might have two lines for a name if you have multiple fees, or was that always a single name per row?
I believe roster is one line.
Always one line. All right. Very good. Very good.
I could be wrong, but
that's okay. But we know this is a single.
Yeah. Did I lose audio? Did you lose audio?
I did. You should be still going.
I
muted myself. There you go.
Okay. So yeah. Also with rosters. So we've had the email roster to instructor button in here for I don't know how long, ages. One thing people have asked for is now available: mass email rosters to instructors. So this allows you to pick, and it defaults to, I think this remembers what you input the last time, but I think it defaults for you guys for the first time 2 days. This is upcoming. How many days upcoming is the begin date of the course? I'm going to do 60 because I don't think I'm going to have very much in my demo if I don't do quite a bit. So if I hit OK, so I get a check mark list of courses upcoming in the next couple months that I can just mass send all these rosters to the instructors of these courses all at once. So, and I can do select all, not deselect all. Done. So it brings this up. So if you're familiar with the regular format of emailing the roster to instructors, this is the exact same screen. What student information do you want to send in all of these? I really just want name only, comma separated. HTML format, I don't care. Say no, well, especially with my email client, it's going to have, looks like only a couple courses had actual instructors with email addresses, so out of those 11 courses that it pulled. So as you can see, not too shabby for a quick pull with those with that information. So do things in mass. The next thing's kind of one of the bigger things we thought of for conference this year, and it involved ACEware as well as me. But the idea of, what the heck? Oh, it's still sending. I'm getting, got some issues there with Papercut. Okay. Next thing is fee limits. We've added the capability. I don't think this is the right course I have set up. But the new column is fee, is the max fee over here. Let me get to. No, get out. Where's my course? App Dev A. No. Somewhere. There we go. Do I already have somebody enrolled? Yeah, I've got people enrolled. So, well, and I've called these resident and non-resident fee, but the idea is your first person that gets registered would get registered at the resident fee amount, and then everybody else who registers, obviously this is my demo, so I'm just trying to do an example here. Everybody else that registers would come in at the non-resident rate. And if I did this right, yeah. So here, Teresa Alexander was my first registrant. She got that one resident fee. Now everybody else that gets added gets the other rate. So if I add a new person, Michael Boyd, don't hassle me, non-resident rate automatically selected by default. So so it's not, you can't, like wait list the fee with this system, but it does allow you, if you're wanting, like, the
Matthew, jump to the Mastering Student Manager course. I think that has one of the Mastering Student Managers. I'm going to expound on this because I think this is really, if you have any kind of fee levels that are like staff fees or member fee. So if you say staff fee, maybe that was $100. You say, well, I only want to allow 3 staff to register at that fee. That you'd be able to limit the number of highly discounted fees that you're offering, but still be able to offer that to some people. And I suppose now, would that work with Early Bird if you said the first 3 Early Birds get that, or would that still, it wouldn't you'd be in a catch-22 on that. I don't think we're going to do that. But the idea of staff fee,
No.
seniors, would it work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, you want the
Jason, are
early
you
bird
in on that?
early bird fee order one?
Talk
but
about
yeah,
this on how it works with ACEware, so you don't have to
Right.
spend the whole
Right.
time.
Okay. So anyway, I really do think that has a lot of opportunity for you in there, and you could even do promotions. The first 3 people will get the discounted fee, and after that, it goes back to the regular fee. So again, you can kind of use it as a way to, again, push people to get them to register early. So, all right, I'm done pontificating here, Matthew. So,
okay. Okay. So, and Jason will cover more about that with ACEware in a moment. Next thing is invoices. Pay multiple outstanding invoices is a new choice here. And, oh, no, I paid them off earlier. That's, I was testing something else. Trying to think who, was it Jenny? No. Anyway, I'm going to quickly just make add a registration, just give student. Okay. The important thing with this is bill the institution. So if I've got this, if I apply payment, say no, wait, apply payment, yes, I want to do an invoice, yeah, and abandon that. So basically I've given my invoice an invoice number here. And now if I do another one, let's find New Gingrich, doesn't matter. Chuck, we can't hear you if you're saying something.
I was muted. I said, well, Matthew was setting up the billings. You may have seen the message fly by, the firm escrow of X amount. That is the firm escrow feature, which has really been around a while, but Matthew just illustrated you now have a way to view that from the firm field. So, all right, Matthew.
All right. Now, pay multiple outstanding. Okay, so I've got these 2 invoices that have already been invoiced, and probably they'd be different invoice dates as well, but I can check mark now my 2. If I had others, they'd be shown in the list too. But done. Really, it signifies up here that you're paying multiple with by filling the invoice number field with multiple. And now I can put check, whatever check number, save. And it also would work if you're doing a partial payment to these invoices. You can distribute the payment. But main thing is when you click save with this routine, is it goes ahead and closes the invoice screen. Normally when you're paying an invoice, it keeps that invoice screen open. But with this, it closes it and just comes to this kind of confirmation screen. Shows you which invoices were paid and which amounts and who the student was and payer. This is payer and then student. So hopefully for those of you that have, trying to collect arrears and then suddenly a firm comes out of nowhere and pays like 3 months worth of invoices all at once, you can now just come in here and do it with one fell swoop. Okay, so next thing I showed at conference was mass generate receipts. For financial people, so reports, registrations, receipts, there's a new button here that's generate individual PDFs. So this would, let me get a course real quick with not too many people. Yeah, app dev. Okay, reports, registrations, receipts. So if I generate individual PDFs and do the default receipts for one course, that's what I want. Course number is okay. And it asks where you want to save those. So I'm going to do, I think my ACEhold has a bunch of stuff in it. So I'm going to go to ACEhold 4, and it's writing PDFs. So if and then it runs the report in here, but I'm not too interested in that. I want to go see my ACEhold 4. And so here are all the PDFs that it created today from that course. So it shows the payer name. This is the registration group ID, just basically so I could give it a unique ID. So it has, a couple payments here from ACEware Systems, and actually 3 because there's another one down here, but each one has different people on it. So this one, opened on my other screen. Bring it over here. So this one had multiple payments to one person. I think one of these, this one. Again, my other screen. That's the wrong one anyway. There we go. So this invoice had multiple people on it with multiple registrations. So it's pulling it all, and it's 2 pages long. So go to the second page to see the second class from John Johnson. But so it shows it all in one place. So if you've got a finance person that needs to keep old receipts, rather than printing out a copy all the time, they can now keep them in PDFs. And by the way, this is I've got my setting to be secured PDFs turned on, so it does do that. By the way, that setting is secure PDFs right there. So always a good thing, especially when you're talking about money. Okay, next thing is with the F2, which is I'm blanking.
Recording reports F2.
Courses enrollment report. Module courses enrollment report, or just hit F2 on your keyboard. The couple new things is catalog code exactly matches. You can put something in there, but also email reminders here in the bottom right-hand corner. So as you're running this, 14 days, let's do the same 60 days. Email reminders brings up all of these courses, as a bunch of these are 0 enrollment courses. That's why we didn't see it on the email roster. Deselect less than min. That works. No, that did the opposite. That deselected all the zeros and not.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost.
That's right.
That's weird.
It deselected those that were less than the minimum. That's right. It did its thing. No, it didn't.
Yeah,
it unchecked
some zeros.
That's right, Matthew. That's right. Because all the zeros were. Oh, wait a minute. You're right. No, it flip-flopped that.
I don't know. Maybe I've got bad data in my courses or something. But anyway, if I hit done here, actually, I'm not going to deselect. Let's just do one course. Advanced report writing, and done. Email only. So it's running the normal, like you would go from tools, email student reminders, but it's running the same routine. Fire away, and 4 emails sent. And would I like to clear? Yeah, I want to clear because I don't want the automatic routine picking it up and sending it. So if I go back to my paper clip tool thingy, here are actually sent 5 because the 5th one is copy to me. The rest are actually to the students. So to Chuck, Sam Smith, Eric, hey, thank you for participating, blah blah blah. Whatever I had in my template, it's showing in this email reminder. So there's that. So again, this is all stuff that I showed at conference. Now I'm going to talk about some other stuff I didn't show at conference, but also got released in 76. One of the things that we found, password maintenance, if you've got somebody set to do not allow or not allowed to do refunds, the course cancel, module courses, cancel course, this routine was actually letting people do refunds even with that marked on their record. So we've closed that loophole and disallowed that, and I don't think any of my people set up for that. But
no,
anyway, so
that's okay.
Safety.
That gets the job done.
Yeah, safety feature there. Next thing, and I'm not going to show this in the program, but I'm going to pull up the help guide instead. The add pay function, which is used on reports to pull in payment information for a particular registration. If there's multiple payments, though, to that registration, it is going to show the information from all those payments and list them out. So one of the things we did to help this, and this isn't updated in help quite yet, but Jason's going to be getting that done, is we do have a fifth parameter to put like if you don't, by default it just puts a carriage return in between the different payments. If you want them listed, like comma separated or something, you can put that in the fifth parameter to do that. And also, I explained this on the forum, and I was going to pull up the forum and show this, but we do have a new function called Show Teach. It's kind of like the current Class Teach, but simplified. So if you've used Class Teach, well, continue to keep using Class Teach, but we do have a new function, and that'll also get put into the help guide. But right now it is listed in my forum post from last month. Show Teach to be able to list instructor and instructor payment information about a course. So course mass delete. Okay, back to Student Manager. One of the things we've done, we've kind of revamped the module courses mass delete. No, I don't want to do update counts. So we've kind of added a few things here, and you kind of see in the green here, comma delimited. So like the mass change update delete, where you can put in a comma separated list of course number begins with. So like if you're wanting to do 18, 19, you can do that now in here. Also, the new thing is category. By the way, this is mass delete just deletes out the courses with 0 enrollments, and yeah, all related information to those. Not recommended. Definitely do a backup before you do this, but get with your technician if you do want to know more about using this and what you can do with it. Okay, I think that is everything that went out last month in 76. So, ready for 77.
Drum roll.
Okay. First thing, and actually might have flirted across this once or twice, but one of the new things we've done is on the instructor tab is put the type, your instructor type, at the end of the name. So like in this record or this instance, I've got Chuck Havlicek is getting two different payments, but so the first one I want him marked as the instructor for ACEware purposes, and then second one hide from web, and be able to hide him from ACEware with the second record. So he's not listed twice on ACEware, basically. But anyway, that information is now on here. So if you do have, maybe you have a whole list of instructors and one, couple are the professors of the course and a few are teaching assistants or something like that, you can quickly look through the list and be able, as long as you're putting a type with each one of those instructors, be able to look and see who is who, basically, to help you out there.
Let me jump in, Matthew. And one of the other things with a lot of you now who have instructors teaching for more than 2 weeks, and you're trying to do biweekly payroll, or with some of the new rules about when instructor payments are due, you can put an instructor in multiple times and do hide from the web, so that when you go to the website and look at the instructor of record, you don't see Chuck Havlicek listed 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And so that's the other thing that this allows you to do, is the hide from web is actually a way to suppress the view of an instructor record from the web page. And again, I think, Jason, maybe you could talk about more of that later, or if you got a question, get with your tech on that. So, all right.
And you.
All right, next thing is, and I'm going to go to an instructor here, pull up Michael Lowry's record. The new thing is we can send SMS messages to Michael right from Student Manager, as long as you've got the SMS Messenger installed. Happy early 4th. Go home. Yeah. So you could send a message here to Michael. Send. Okay, waiting. Okay, well, that's new. I have some sort of error with Twilio. So, reset files. But anyway, if your Twilio is configured correctly and everything's working right, that would send to an actual instructor. So unfortunately, something's broke on mine, so can't quite show that to completion, but you get the idea. All right. Oh, next thing is with the speed registration, module registration, speed registration entry, and I'm going to pick course. It doesn't matter what. The new thing is with the import wizard. I'm not going to go through all the steps of importing, but the import wizard can now bring in registration user-defined fields. So if you're wanting to populate these people, maybe you've got, I don't know, dance partner or something else you need to collect in a UDF. This routine can now pull it in for you. So last thing I've got is selectively ungroup. So if I look up Jenny Call, I've got her in a group of 9 here, but actually it looks like these 18W ACMEs are all correct, but it got accidentally included. This group got grouped with another group. So I need to fix that. Before, you'd have to ungroup the one registration, ungroup the other registration, and then group those back together. Well, this routine does it all at once. Selectively ungroup with option to put selected in a group. That's what I want. And the 2 that I want taken out are these first 2, because I want to keep the Acme Cleaners course all together. It's just these two up here that were personal ones I want to put in their own group. So done. Yes, or it asks you if you do want to regroup the registrations that were ungrouped. If you do, for some reason, want to keep those, separate, you can say no, but usually you want to put them back into a group. So now my group is 7 here. That's just the Acme people. And if I go back, here's the Mastering Student Manager with just the 2 Mastering Student Managers that were accidentally grouped with that other group. So kind of a quick or quicker way to fix some of these if you've made a mistake. Also, maybe you get paid with a check and it's only for part of a group or something. So you want to, pay off the part of the group together and the other group other part of the group keep separate for when you get paid for those people. You can do that as well. So, or that would be another scenario I'd see using this for. So that's all I've got. Any questions?
I think you've answered most of them. Got several. Love this. Got several hand applause there. Fireworks going on. So some good stuff. So I don't see anything new on that, Matthew. So I'm going to let you take a break. You had a busy session here, and let me turn this over to Jason, and we'll get to talk about ACEware. So Jason, you should be coming up, going once, twice, and there we are. We're looking at a blue screen right now, and now we're looking at what's new. So you're in the helm.
So what is new in ACEware? This is going to be a recap for all of you that were at conference and got to see this presentation on the things that we're putting in Build 55. Now, full disclosure, we did find a couple of last-minute bugs, so we're going to do everything we can to get this out today, but it's possible it may be after the holiday weekend. So just kind of full disclosure on that. So let's jump in here and start with the big one, single sign-on. So what is single sign-on? I'm sure you've all visited a site where you have to create a login or an account in order to activate the services of that organization or whatever. And you see that little icon that says login with Google or login with Facebook. Well, our Google single sign-on is just that. It offers the ability for your students to log in with their Google account. We don't currently support Facebook single sign-on right now, but that is something that we've kind of paved the way for other entities. So that could be something in a future update. So let's take a look at how it works. So when your students get to your website and they either add a course to their cart or attempt to add a course to their cart, they're going to be presented with the sign-on or the sign-up screen. And they're going to see 2 options here. You can use the traditional method of creating an account through ACEware, the same that they've always used, or they can click the sign in with Google button. Once they do that, a couple of things could happen. If they're already signed into Google on that device, then it'll show a screen like you're seeing in this example, where it lists the accounts that have signed in on this computer, and then they can select one of those and authenticate with that account to Google and complete the process that way. If they're not currently signed in on the device, then it would prompt them to enter, their Gmail address and the password, and then authenticate and continue that way. So once they select their account and authenticate with Google, what it's going to do is grab the first and last name and the email address and pull those values into ACEware to create that new account. Now, it's also going to prompt them to fill in any of the fields that you have configured in your required field setting. So if you do have extra fields you need captured, this is still going to force them to complete those before they can finalize that account before they can actually register for any courses. Now, if you also have the, I need to move this screen 1 second here. Maybe, here we go. Okay, so if you also have the setting in your user ID source that allows for blank passwords, then your students can use this Google single sign-on method and not be forced to create a password and then just continue to authenticate using Google when they want to log in. So that's another option that kind of saves them a little bit of time, one less password that they have to remember. Okay, so to recap, it's going to be an option. This isn't going to replace the way that your students log in or create accounts on ACEware. This is going to be a choice for them to either use Google single sign-on or the traditional method. It is going to require a little bit of setup with Google. Originally, we had thought that this would be on the responsibility of the organization where they would have their own Google account and create their own client ID, but we've also tossed around the idea of just having ACEware handle that. So we would basically create a Google client ID for your organization on our account and then authorize your servers to that account. So just one more time-saving step. And of course, it is going to require some new templates, some new files, and obviously this latest build of ACEware. And so your tech will be able to walk through that with you should you guys choose to use this new feature. Now, also on the single sign-on front is the addition of supporting InCommon and Shibboleth. Now these are another single sign-on source. Shibboleth is the single sign-on provider, and then InCommon Federation is the kind of bigger group that a lot of bigger universities are starting to adopt to kind of give harmony to all of their different applications over their campus to use that single sign-on. So this one is a bit more complex, and it is a paid optional module because, again, your ACEware tech is going to work with the ACEware developer and then your organization's tech teams to get that completed. So the pathway is paved, and we're pretty excited about that because it's starting to be a pretty common deal and another way that your students are going to be able to save time. So, all right, up next is the improvements we've been making to the ACEware INI. So yeah, last time I checked, we're pushing over 200 individual settings in the ACEware INI. And anyone that's been to their admin page and went to that Edit INI settings link has been accustomed to just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you find the setting that you want. And so we've kind of addressed that, and we have made it a little bit more intuitive and given a way to search for settings individually. And we've also filtered them down into 9 categories that kind of lump everything together. The new INI default page is going to sort by the categories by default now. So if you're used to having the alpha order, keep in mind that the new sort order is going to be the category order, and we'll take a look at that here in just a second. But let's take a look at the categories that we have narrowed these down to. So here's our 9 categories. We've got columns. Now this is the one that controls the column headers and their labels. These are settings such as schedule fields or roster fields. So when you're looking at your list of all of your courses, if you're on the All Courses link and you've chosen to display the course code and the course title and begin date, those are set by the schedule fields INI setting. So that's an example of a columns INI setting. The custom category is pretty much just going to be for things like if you have custom programming and something that was set by your technician or the ACEware programmer, that would be under that custom category. Normally, you're not going to ever have to mess with these. Your display settings are anything that control how and when something displays on ACEware. This could be like your default course order. You know, how do you want your courses to be ordered when they click that All Courses link? It could be, like Chuck mentioned, the hide instructor types. This is a setting that is controlling how and when something displays. So if you've chosen to have all of the hide from web instructor types be hidden from the web, then this is where you would change that setting. It would be in the display category. The email category, obviously self-explanatory. It's any settings that deal with email in any way, shape, or form. The feature category is the group of INI settings that usually turn a feature on and off. So in my example, proxy registration or the new staff web access. Those are lumped into that feature category. The install category is settings that typically we would use as your technicians if you're doing a new install or a server move. These are going to be the ones that you have to fill out in order to just get the base ACEware running. So everything that is required for a new setup or server configuration goes into that install category. Payments, obviously anything to do with payments. So you've got your pay service settings in here, such as your default pay type, things like that. The troubleshooting category is pretty much just for turning on debug logging and how much logging that you're actually doing with debug logs. So this is a big one for places that need to adjust that setting. And we'll talk about another improvement here in just a minute that kind of deals with just that. And then finally, the last category is the verbiage category. So these are the ones that control when a message shows up or what message shows up in a particular area. So the full message on full courses, what's the actual message that displays there, or your help person or the help phone. Those settings are set in the verbiage category. Okay, so again, we talked about the ability to sort, and by default, you can see over here on the right, it's sorting by the categories, starting with columns and then custom, so on and so forth. But if you do want to have that original sort, then you can just select the key option here and click apply, and then that will go back to that original look where it's just alpha order of all the settings. Now the filter option is really what I'm most excited about, because it not only searches your keyword in the INI key itself or the INI setting name, but it also searches in the description for that setting. So if we look at an example, I've filtered by workshop, and these are the results that come up in that list. So you've got a whole bunch of settings that don't even have the word workshop in the key name. So we know that somewhere in reg status fields and schedule fields, workshop is present in that description, so it comes into play there. So this is a great way to kind of do a search for a particular keyword that will show all of the relevant INI settings that may come into play when dealing with that particular thing that you're trying to do. All right, so here's the other feature that I was talking about in terms of making an easy access for swapping a setting. This is just basically giving you the option to have two values set for an INI setting and the ability to swap between those two values with the check of a box. So you basically go to that setting, check the swap box, and hit submit, and it toggles between whichever settings you have set there. This is pretty big for like OLLI groups that would have a debug flag setting for logging everything with table, kind of in my example there. And then when OLLI registration opens up, they want to have a more succinct performance-oriented setting, which is just to flag the pay service details. And so you can toggle that with just that checkbox. So this is a pretty neat addition. Now, how you set that up is by going into the text version of your INI editor, or you can use a text editor of your own. And you're basically going to copy whatever setting you want to have a swap value for and put it right under it, and then proceed it with 2 semicolons. That's going to alert the INI editor to scan for that setting as a swap value. So what you do is you open up your normal INI editor, go to the very bottom of the page, and there's a link that says check for substitute settings, and you click that, and then it enables that swap checkbox for any of those values that have that double semicolon. Now you only have to do that once the substitute setting is found. You don't have to click that until you were to add another substitute setting if you wanted. All right, up next, unlimited UDFs in more places. We're continuing to make a lot more templates and features and registration options utilize that new unlimited UDF feature. So We've now got them expanded to the sign-up page, your data capture pages, your script and HTML-based Express Reg pages, and then your edit your profile page and the quick pick consent form. So lots more areas that we're adding that to, which is always a good thing. All right, next up is waitlisting on Express registration pages. So previously, you could have an Express registration page and have that reach its course maximum, but it wouldn't really indicate that on your Express Reg page because, again, if they're just browsing right to the direct link, it would allow them to fill out all of the information on the Express Reg page, hit submit, and then get presented with a message that said, sorry, this course is full, and not really present any other options. Well, this gives them an opportunity to actually submit the registration as well as all of the additional things that you may be capturing onto that waitlisted registration, so that you don't have to have them go back and fill all that information out again, or really you've got the waitlisted registration with all that information there in the first place. So that's really the key thing. Let's see. Yep, so it's a more intuitive method now. Previously, like I mentioned, it would just have that submit button and allow them to complete the registration, or not complete the registration, but it would allow them to submit it and then have that message saying the course was full, sorry, you can't do this. But now it actually recognizes that it's full and then has the waitlist button right there. Okay, we've also been making some improvements to the source and tracking code. Now, previously, the source and tracking code question box or drop down would show up each time you added a course to your enrollment cart, but it was only going to keep the last one selected for your group of registrations. What we've done now is enable it to track that individually for each course as you add them to your cart. So if you're really into those statistic reports in tracking source codes, then this is a big bonus for that. We've tweaked the workshop display function on ACEware to give you some more ability to control how dates are displayed. So previously it was just the month/day/year. Now it's going to take advantage of the nice date function, which opens up a whole plethora of different ways that you can have dates formatted for your workshop selections. So pretty neat feature there. All right, now as Matthew's already touched on, another big feature is the ACEware fee limits, or fee limits in general. This is kind of the ACEware side of that, obviously. So some examples that I had kind of thought of was if, like, you offer your staff free registrations in all their courses, but you don't want your staff to be filling up all those slots as soon as registration opens, then again, you can put in a fee limit on that staff fee so that maybe only the first 5 people can sign up with that free staff registration. Maybe you've got a particular location that has balcony seats or front row seats, but there's obviously a limited number of those. You can use that as an enticement for, paying a premium for better seats or something like that. So a lot of different ways that I think this could be utilized. So what you do, Matthew kind of showed a little bit about this in Student Manager, but you go to the actual course and fees tab, and then you enter in the maximum number of the how many registrations you want at that fee level in that fee max column. And what that's going to do is display how many of those seats are remaining at this price. Now, the verbiage on that can be changed using the phrasebook. So if you don't want it to show, 3 seats remain at this price, we're implementing the ability to be able to change the text that shows up there. It's important to note that only main fees can have fee limits. This is not available for optional fees. If you do want to track the use of optional fees, you'll definitely want to look into inventory fee types, because that is sort of one way that you can track and limit the number of optional fees that are being used. Now this fee limits feature also works with the fee category system. Chuck had asked if it works with early bird fees. Yes, it works with early bird fees, works with fee categories, works with membership fees. It's going to apply on whichever fee type you set as long as it is a main fee. So in this example here, we've got a name record this is a staff member, and they have the staff fee in their fee category. What that's going to do is allow you to use the fee category system as it always has, where you can hide that fee from the web so that it doesn't show up for anyone except for the people that have that fee category on their name record. Now, assuming that person has the fee category and they're logged in and they go to that course and the fee max has not been reached, then they will see that staff fee and it'll also be auto-selected for them because it matches the fee category on their name record. Once that fee maximum is reached, just the same way that the early bird system works, those fees just drop off from the fee selector there, and they're no longer an option for the student to choose from. And so it would default to whatever the next fee in the list is. All right, next up is the past term reg checking or multi-reg.
Can I, Jason?
Yeah.
Jason, you hear me? Okay, I got a question. Martin wants to know, on an AW pending, and Stein, I don't know if Stein, I think, is still setting in. The question is if somebody registers and gets one of those reserve fees and it ends up bailing out of the registration of the payment screen and ends up with an all pending, does that eat up the seat or not? I'm assuming it does, but I'll let you.
If they end up with a pending where they have not, if they cancel, properly cancel out and go through the proper process, then it will clear out the fee. But yes, they can go in, and then if they just say, "Oh, I don't want to do
the browser,"
down, unfortunately, that leaves us with, in a pending state. We don't know what the heck is going on because there's no way we can tell what they just did. And so, yes, that would leave that. But it actually, it is also timed. So if you wait a day, it will then check. And I think then it will realize that this is no longer an active registration. And so it may let them out, may release it at that point.
Right. I believe, and one of the comments on that is, I think, Stein, you actually do a tally of the number of registrations at that fee. So if you're clearing AW pendings on a regular basis, once you clear it, then the next time you go in, someone goes in and looks, it will, of course, not recognize it, and it'll consider the number of seats unused, and you can fill up that last seat. So I think it's the answer is no. Yes, it does save the seat, but it's got some if you clean it up, number one, and number two, after like 24 hours, it'll reset and allow you to use that other reserve seat if you would. So we're good on that. All right, thanks, guys.
No problem. And I don't know if Stein had mentioned this, but he also put in the ability for ACEware to be constantly checking for people that have added a course with a fee limit to their enrollment card. When that happens, it automatically adjusts for that. So if other people go to that course and they attempt to get that staff fee or whatever the fee limit is, it's going to be looking at the other fees on carts throughout all of ACEware so that you don't get the chance of people overbooking at that fee level. Now, if the other person, removes it from their cart, it obviously frees up that fee limit to have someone else be able to use. So pretty intuitive. Okay, so last on our list of new things is the past term reg checking or the multi-reg. We haven't really come up with a clever name for this right yet, but essentially it's kind of like reverse course prerequisites. It's going to check if a student has a registration in the same type of course in their previous registrations. So the way that you enable this is to set the stop multi-reg INI setting to on in your ACEweb INI. And assuming that you are, if you run multiple of courses that are essentially the same course semester to semester, then ideally you should be using that same catalog code as the description for that course. This catalog code is the field that is checked against when it's looking for previous registrations in that course. So if you've got Math 101 or Extend Student Manager with ACEweb, and it's basically the same course, same curriculum, someone takes it and they want to try and take it again, maybe because it was an easy A or something, if you have the stop multi-reg turned on and they have the same catalog code, then they're going to get a message that says, our records indicate that you've already taken this course in a previous term, so they can't add it to their card. So a pretty useful feature that I think a lot of places are going to be able to use. And as always, for the full list of fixes and any other features that are not listed here, the forums, the ACEweb update forums is going to be where we post that. Again, we're still working on a couple of last-minute bugs that got found, so we're going to do everything we can to get this out before the holiday, but it's possible that this may be next week that you see 55. So good things come to those who wait. That's what they always say, right?
All righty, very good. Well, folks out there, if you've got questions for Jason, drop them in the box. I think, Jason, we've got you updated as far as with the questions. Lots of positive comments with all the new goodies on that. I'm going to grab the helm back, and there we go, show my screen. So you guys should be looking at me. Again, this folder, if you said, well, this is great, I want to make sure a colleague of mine sees this, this webinar will be posted under the software updates routine. And again, we will have another webinar. We took a break in June with the conference. We'll be doing kind of, again, some conference rehash. Productivity hacks was one of the most popular sessions. Yours truly was doing that. And we'll be doing that here the Thursday, 24th of July. And so again, look forward to that. And I just don't see any other questions. Matthew, any last comments, things you thought of that you want to hit before we let people go? It's been a full update here.
I'm good.
All right, Stein, you're taking a break here. You good? Anything you want to toss in?
Yeah, just to say that even if we do get 55 out tonight, you don't want to install it on the night before the holiday.
No, we're not going to be releasing it until Monday. So again, so don't worry about needing to stay up late for these new goodies. You will need to wait till Monday. So
possibly later, since I'm not actually here until.
Oh, that's right. You're gone for a couple of days, so it might be Wednesday next week. So, well, anyway, we will have that up. We will have that up and going here within the week. Folks, thank you so much for setting in. Lots of goodies going on. Get your upgrade for manager and get ready to get your ACEweb upgrade sometime next week. So, Jason, Matthew, Stein, thank you much. Everybody have a great 4th, and again, remember, light and throw. Don't hold that firecracker in your hand. So have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.